Okay, looks like we are live. Hi everyone, it's great to be here today talking for you about Google Analytics and what can you do to make your setup better. Before we start, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Maria. I'm head of sales and marketing in OWOX BI. And here is my colleague Marina, who is web analyst at OWOX.
Hello everyone.
So now I'll share the screen so you can see the presentation. Just give us a second. Here we go. And to start with, for those of you who don't know about OWOX, let me say a few words about what we do and what we specialize in. So first of all, we implement GA360 for businesses from different domains and help set up BigQuery and take the most out of Google products. Second, we have our own services based on Google BigQuery that help you bring data together, process it, run attribution models, and provide you with better reporting. We are not agency and we don't sell advertisements, so we're not biased about the results of marketing campaigns, and our main goal is to provide you with real numbers and real results that you can apply in your business. And here you can find some of our clients that might look familiar to you. So the first question that we'll start with, once again, as I mentioned, there are two of us today speaking for you. And the first question that we'll talk about is UTM tagging. So if talking about UTM tags, what's wrong with it? And what are the main mistakes? Even though there are so many blog posts and articles on this subject, people are still making mistakes there. So let Marina take it from here.
Okay. The first of all, how to understand that something is wrong with your links. At the screenshot below, you can see source medium report with different variants for Facebook traffic. All of them are marked as a referral because there is no right tagging in it. Using the link below, you can get access to test GA account if you don't have any account yet, and you can open all reports from this presentation there. Without UTM, you have different information about the visit, so all not tagged link will be attributed to referral channel. The main thing is to use one theme for UTM tagging, so you will be able to measure the impact of different channels and campaigns. This is a link to report in GA where you can see how your source medium report look like. So now we have a small test for you. So guys, we really want to make it more interactive for you. So we need your attention and answers in chat. So now you will see 4 links, and some of them are wrong, some of them are right. And now we want you to write in the comments in chat which link you think is correct and which link is totally wrong. We will wait for maybe
a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
So once again, please put the number of the right link in comments in case you know which one is right. And if not, Marina will help you with that. Okay, so I think everyone is too confused. So let Marina answer this question.
Okay. As you can see, the first link is marked as incorrect, and let me explain why. There is only UTM medium there, but required field is UTM source. It means that, yes, you can use only one parameter, but it should be UTM source, not only UTM medium. The second link contains anchor link, and when you use anchor link, it should be at the end of the whole link after UTM parameters, not before them. So this link is incorrect too. The third really looks correct, but It has UTM parameters, and you see the source is Facebook, and obsolete that is used in AdWords ad. Jay wants to understand which parameters it should take and why the sources are different. And as you can see, the fourth link is correct, and you will see all information in J. To help you find incorrect links, especially if you have several advertising sources with hundreds of ads, we have created an automatic check in OWOX BI. If you set up your cost import, we will automatically check each link before upload. And if we will find the wrong links, you will see the following message and have opportunity to visit the advertising service to fix it from this service. Okay, and the next thing, tagging and rows, how it's connected. It's really important to understand the meaning and impact of row tagging. A simple example how rows looks like when you have some errors in UTM tagging. Some revenue and part of the cost can be attributed to other sources like some domains, and you won't see the whole picture. And fix all your links, you can see a different chart. Rows can increase or decrease, really depends on your data. But you should understand that every decision that you make using incorrect data could lead you to really unexpected results. And to help you with your future work, we have here some links that can help you with campaign tagging.
And yes, I forgot to mention in the beginning, we'll send all the materials like slide deck and useful links in the email after the presentation, so you'll be able to follow all those links and check what's interesting for you. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask them in chat on your right, so we can answer them during the presentation today. So the second question we want to mention today, and that a lot of people run into, is repeat transactions. What does it mean? It means that for some of the businesses, it happens so that they send the same transaction several times from the checkout page. You can fix it from different sites, and let's talk about it now in more detail. So how does it look in GA? If you build a report where you pull the transaction ID and check for the number of transactions transactions with that ID, you might notice that there are several transactions with the same ID. And of course, it's not possible if everything is set up right. In the presentation, you can find the link to a custom report where you can check if that's the case for you. If that's the case, you can fix it in several ways. But before that, let me explain why it's important. If you talk about revenue in GA and you have repeat transactions, revenue in GA will look way better than it is in real world. And if you subtract all those repeat transactions, the revenue that was generated by certain channel can dramatically decrease, and you'll understand that something went wrong. So why does it happen and how it can be fixed? It happens if you send, for instance, the same information about transaction from the thank you page, again, if the page has been reloaded. And about how you can fix it, Marina will help you with that.
Okay, it's really good news that we have a solution, and you can choose it from one of the list. Depends on your resources. Okay, the first way is the most accurate. It's to fix the logic on your backend. In this case, transactions won't be sent twice, and but this way requires developer resources. Okay. The second option will be suitable for you if you currently don't have developer resources, but you are using GTM. Using GTM, you can block the sending of transaction every time the site wants to resend it, the same data for the same user. And the third option is not to fix the problem in GA, but to upload data about real transaction and real revenue to Google BigQuery. This solution will allow you to use only real revenue to create all reports you need, but this solution is not so useful because you can see the real data in GA to understand the impact of your advertising channels. Okay, this slide shows you the algorithm and settings for the second method using GTM. And to speak briefly, first you send order ID to cookie, then check it when you are trying to send next transaction. So it's become possible to block the resending of transaction. We have an article on our website with the full description of this method, and you will be able to study the algorithm and the implementation method on your own after this webinar and fix this problem on your site if you have it.
Okay, and from here we can move to another very close and connected topic about order fulfillment. So what do we mean talking about order fulfillment? It often happens that you had, for instance, 100 of orders from this particular source, but it turned out that some of them were canceled or some of them were returned. And of course, you want to consider that while evaluating your ads efficiency. Unfortunately, you can't send all that data in GA and process it the way you want it. So that's actually the picture that I was talking about. For instance, you can have 100 of orders, 100% of orders, and a big part of them, like 35, 40%, can be canceled or test or returned. And if you try to evaluate return on ad spend considering those returns, it might also turn out that it's very different from what you expected it to be. In this case, what we recommend to do is we recommend you to collect all the data in single system. So you can either import canceled transactions back into GA with a negative value, or another option, you can collect data from GA and supplement it from with data from your ERP system in BigQuery and see the real revenue that you get there. And in that case, it will be way easier to properly calculate return on ad spend. And if you have any questions about this particular problem or you need any assistance with that, you can also ask questions in chat and we'll be happy to help you with it. Another problem that clients usually run into and that companies usually run into is sample data. If talking about sample data, first let me explain what it is for those of you who don't know yet. Sample data and sampling as a process occurs that when you have too much data in your GA account to be processed in a free version. In that case, when building complicated reports for a long period of time, you might run into the sampled reports. It means that the report itself is based and calculated only on a certain share of data. For instance, here you can see that the report for several months was built less than on 3% of data. And of course, you don't want to make important decisions based on sample data because if 3% of your audience behaves this way, it doesn't mean that all 100% of your audience behave the same way. So this picture illustrates it probably in the best way. You might expect that if this many users generated this behavior on the website, the rest will do the same. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, it turns out that that was just like a small share of customers who did it this certain way. And one of the examples that I like to show here is when you're evaluating revenue from product blocks. For instance, on your website, you have bestsellers, most popular, similar, and recently viewed products. and you evaluate the revenue that was generated within interaction with these blocks, and you have sample data, again, it might have looked better or worse than it is in the real world. So that's the case when you want to overcome sampling. And there are several ways to do it. First, you can build reports for a smaller time frame, so get less data. Or you can build less complicated reports. Or you can use and pull data through the API. You can go with J360 license, or you can streamline your data into BigQuery and get it raw and unsampled there, even if you have a standard GA. The next problem that our clients usually come with is attribution modeling. And one of the scenes and one of the most common problems is using last man direct click. Marina?
Okay, yes, I will help you with this topic. Why it's a problem? Because when you use only last click attribution, you can understate the big part of your customer's behavior. Here is an example of main conversion path on a site. As you can see, the last source in these chains is basically the referral or direct channels. But before them, we see often paid advertising channels like display or paid search, and we really want to measure their effectiveness, not referral channels. So when we're using only the last click model to evaluate the efficiency of the channel, paid sources won't get much value, although they pushed the user to make the conversion on your site. Therefore, it's necessary to evaluate the effectiveness of paid search using several attribution models. For example, you can easily compare the last click model to one of the simplest linear attribution model. Even in J, you can do that. And now we can see that the display channel, for example, was underestimated by almost 100%. And you can see a big difference in other channels when you see at this model compare report. So you can try different attribution model to understand which finds the best way to you to measure your advertising companies. Okay, here is a link to J report where you can see this data. And the next topic we will talk about is a payment system as a transaction source. Why it's important? Because you can understand the real source of your transaction, and if you see in source medium report transaction that attributed to your bank or your payment system, it can give you wrong information. Okay, if you send orders from your site and there is an opportunity to online payment, of course, you can see it's this source medium report. And if you see such sources like bank, like PayPal, or something like that, so you can fix it, and you should fix it to understand the real sources. Okay, what's the problem? The problem is that all the sources attributed like a referral, and you can see a high revenue for this channel, and you can see smaller revenue for another sources. The great news that you can easily fix it. You can do it even in J. You should add all possible domains of payment system to your referral exclusion list in J, as you can see at screenshot. So the old session won't be finished and the new one won't be created with a new source when people will do their payment. And the source of the transaction will be not payment system, but the previous source, which was the original source of a visit. So as you can see, it's really easy and you really should do that. Here is a link to the settings page where you can find these settings.
Okay, and we are moving fast today. The problem number 7 is the same user ID for all non-authorized users. So let's start from the very beginning. There are several identifiers that you can use working with GA. First one is client ID, that is unique identifier for each pair of browser and device. And it will be updated if the user deleted his cookies. So it's something that helps you match different sessions of the same user, but you cannot say for sure, and you cannot fix cross-device tracking with them. To do that, we recommend you implement user ID. That's an identifier that will help you match different sessions of the same user on different devices or in different browsers. So usually it's connected to the email, loyalty card, or phone number of each user, and it can be set from your CRM system. So it will be the same number in GA and in your CRM system. So how to check if you have this problem in Google Analytics? You can build a report where you pull user type, user ID, and check how many users correspond to that particular user ID. So you can see that there is not set as a user ID for new and returning visitor, and they have more than 800 users. If that was the same user, there probably would be 2, 3, 5 tops, but not 800 different pairs of user. The second way you can check it, I'll show you just in a minute. So here we see how this problem influences reports connected with revenue. So for instance, on your very left, you can see different user IDs. And in one of the cases, there is a user ID set to none that has generated like more than 9% of overall revenue and had 265 users. And that doesn't make any sense because one user cannot be like 2,000 times on your website tracked as different user. Also, if talking about cross-device, it doesn't make it any easier. So you can see that a user with certain ID had a huge path within just like 4 days, more than 300 sessions. Of course, that's not how a user behave. So in that case, you'll need to make sure that that doesn't happen on your website. Otherwise, all your data about new returning visitors and their KPIs will be corrupted. How not to make this mistake? Make sure that when you set up Google Tag Manager for user ID, you don't set up default value to not set or null or anything like that. So if there is a user ID, it should be sent as a user ID, and if there is no user ID, it shouldn't be set as not set or null or anything. It should be just absent in that case. I know that's not like the easiest part of the webinar, so if it's not clear, you can ask it in chat on the right. And the next question that we have is dedicated to referral traffic from the internal resources.
And it's really my topic. Okay, it's a really common mistake, and that we would like to tell you about. It's referral traffic from internal resources in your data. Okay, how it look like? That's way it looks like in J for our side. As you can see in screenshot, in no worries, it's really test view, not our main. And you can easily run a report in J using the link below on the slide and search for such internal visits in your data. If you find such resources with the referral channel, you want to get rid of them, so go with me to the next slide. To avoid it, we use the same settings that we already has been applied to in solving the problem of payment systems in order sources. So we add our internal domains to referral exclusion list. Just click save. It's really easy and it should be done. So you will have correct data in your J report, and that we really want you to have. So it was the last topic, I think.
Let's check.
Okay, settings, link, yes.
Great. So that was really fast. We really hope it helped you to make your GA a bit better. We'll send you all the materials about the presentation in the nearest day or two. And to be the very first one, you can follow this link to register for our next webinar that will take place already next year, January 16, 10 a.m. CST. And we'll talk about what's new in GA Suite, how you can use products from there, and we'll be really glad to see you among the participants. And thank you. There are no questions today, so have a great evening and day and whatever time you have at your place now. Let me just finish the call then.